Hey everyone, welcome to Our Small Footprint. My name is Nyssa. If you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. Now, it is Monday and I'm filming bunches of bits and pieces around me, but I was just about to make lunch and I was thinking that I haven't done a what we eat in a week for quite a while. And this week's probably a good one because I'm going to work the 2 days, but I also have lots of bits and pieces that need to be done. I keep on defrosting bits and pieces. We've got leftovers that need to be used and all that sort of stuff. So I might share. So for lunch today, I actually pulled out 2 bags of the wing nibbles to defrost the day before yesterday, I think it was, and I was planning to use them, hadn't used them, and they're still defrosted in the bottom of the fridge now in a container. So I'm going to cook them up for lunch and leftovers. The kids are all in school. Darryl is doing his D&D thing, so I'm canning apple butter and stuff, which I needed to do, and I need to make chili oil and all that sort of thing today, but I thought I'd just start this new video with like what we eat in a week, and I'll try and do lunches and dinners to a degree when I'm here over this week. We mostly share dinners because the kids are self-serve for breakfast, so they ate a whole bunch of this breakfast this morning was banana bread and the banana muffins, as well as some yogurt and some fruit and things like that. They had some of the leftover apple butter that I've just canned on rice cakes as a morning tea, things like that. So I don't normally film breakfast as such, mainly only dinners with some lunches thrown in depending on what I'm making for lunch, but a lot of the time lunch is leftovers. So you can see the steam from the steam canner coming across. So we're going to do those wing nibbles first and get them sorted while I'm canning the apple butter and have to be out here anyway. The beauty of the chest fridge is that the bottom of it runs really cold. So when you pull stuff out to be defrosted, sometimes you've got a little bit more time than you think, because I was a bit concerned that I'd pull these out like the day before yesterday to go in the fridge. But because of the temperature of the chest fridge, there's still plenty of ice in them. So I probably could have left them another day, but I kind of feel like there is some leftover hamburger patties and stuff though, and some buns that we could have had for lunch, but I think I might do something for dinner with it all. Leftover rolls, leftover hamburger patties, there's some leftover pastrami as well. I don't know, I think I'm going to do pizza tomorrow night with some of the chicken that I prepped in the last couple of videos that you'll have seen by now. But I wanted to try these too because these were from the new chicken place. I wanted to have a good look at what was in them. So they're these bits, which I really like. I really like these 2-bone nibble bits, and then the little drum bits. So no tips, which the dogs will be sad about because when I buy 3-piece wings, the dogs get all the tips. But yeah, some really good pieces in here, and these were $1.50 a kilo. So what I've done is just broken them apart. I'm just going to give my hands a quick rinse. Now, I don't season these before I bake them. All I do is a baking powder. Baking powder, not bicarb, and it helps to draw the moisture out of the skin and gives it really nice crispy topping. Now, I don't have an open baking powder here. I do have my container though. Now, baking powder is bicarb, but it's also cream of tartare. So unlike using straight bicarb where if you use too much, you can definitely taste it, baking powder doesn't really have that unless you go way overboard. So I don't measure it. This is 4 kilos of wing bits. So all I'm doing is, yes, my bench is a bit cluttered because I'm still in the middle of things. All I do is I want everything to be coated a little bit. So I reckon a little bit more than that, and of course I need to wash my hands. We just want, it starts to sort of like bubble almost as it starts absorbing some of that liquid and that sort of thing, and that's what you want it to do, is to get like almost like it's bubbling, like when you add a vinegar to baking powder. I don't know whether there's an acidity to chicken that causes that. I'm not sure the reason behind it, but that's what you want, okay? So it's just got a fine layer, it's slightly coarse. You can see it sort of bubble in spots. That's what we're going to do. Now we're going to put it on a tray, a baking tray. I have these stainless steel ones that I've been talking about that I've been collecting, that I also had a viewer send me the ones with the racks. I had them on my wish list and I hadn't got around to buying them yet. I am definitely going to get more of these. These are wonderful. I have lots of different racks around, but none of them fit the trays properly. Like they overhang and then it causes issues, whereas these fit exactly in the trays, and they just work, which is amazing. So I definitely will be buying some more of these. It's another thing I've been talking in previous videos about, culling stuff. That's another thing, is my baking trays. I'm going to reduce the quantity of different size baking trays that I have. Still maintain a couple, like I still want like a Lamington size one, and I still want a square brownie tin and things like that, but the actual baking trays themselves, this size works really well, and the fact that it's interchangeable with all the racks and stuff is just perfect. So I'm going to, and I like the stainless steel. It didn't work so great when we were cooking on the barbecue a lot because they warped, and they still will warp a little bit in a hot oven. If you stick them in there and they're cold and the oven's a bit too hot, you can occasionally hear it go like pop, where it's warped slightly. But generally speaking, being stainless steel, they just, as they cool, they come back to flat. So it's not such a big deal. So we're just going to fill the trays. I might need to load that one up a little bit more densely to fit everything in, but we're just going to load up these trays. So we're going to cook these probably for 45 minutes, and then I will pull them out and I will glaze them and put them back for 15. So I'll bring you back when I'm making the glaze up to show you how I do that, though I do tend to make it different every time and just throw things in that look or sound good depending on what is open in the fridge. But yeah, I'm going to do that. I must admit that I am really happy that it's got a lot of these little two-piece bits in it, because they are my favorite. I just really enjoy the way they cook up and the way they taste when done like this. So I'm just going to shift stuff around a little bit, fit a few more in. It doesn't matter if they're touching because they do shrink as they cook. So we're just going to fill the trays, make sure that all 4 kilos fits on these 2 trays, and get them in the oven. And then I'll come back when I'm doing the glaze. Alright, we're going to mix up a glaze for the chicken. Now, there's plenty of recipes out there for making all different ones. I tend to just throw a bunch of stuff in until it tastes right. So I like to have a maple sauce base. Then I like this Nando's peri-peri sauce, probably half the amount of the maple, a bit of garlic powder, or minced garlic if you want, but the minced garlic has a tendency to burn because we do nice high temperatures for the glaze to set. And then a bit of sweet soy and a bit of standard soy. And then we're going to whisk this up, just like that. You could use honey instead of maple. I prefer maple because honey burns a bit quicker than maple does. And as I said, we're going to put them on some nice high heat to get that glaze nice and sticky. And I just taste it, and that tastes good to me, so that's what I'm going to use. So now we grab a tray out. So they've been in there for about the 45 minutes. They got nice crispy skin, and so now we're just going to use a pastry brush and put the glaze over the top. Just generously cover everything. You can put it on, put them in for 15 minutes, flip them, put the next lot on. You can flip these in between the cook too. I cooked 45 minutes all on one side because it really just, I don't feel the need to flip them. They're on a rack, so heat's going through both sides, and I find that they get crispy enough just as it is. So we're just going to glaze these generously. I like to use all the glaze up, and however much I make is however much I make because I don't follow any recipes, so sometimes they're a bit more heavily glazed than others. Darryl's making fun of me, my lack of recipes and glug of this and dash of that.
I wasn't making fun of you, saying it's just giving me the idea that sometimes it's a bit hot.
Oh, sometimes it's a bit hot, he said. Sometimes it's a little more spicy than others, and that's probably true too because I don't measure anything. So Alright, so we're just generously coating all the exposed pieces. I'm going to throw them back in the oven. I am going to turn it down slightly because we've had it on top heat for all this time. I'll turn it back down to about the 180 mark because we want to get it nice and sticky but not burnt if possible. And just repeat the same thing with the second tray. There you go, perfect sticky glazed wing nibbles for lunch along with whatever else they want. There's plenty of leftover breads and all sorts of things, but there's 4 kilos of these, which is enough generally to have as a meal for us, a lunch especially. And so yeah, that's what we're having for lunch today. Alright, dinner tonight we're doing bits and pieces. I have brioche rolls left, I have pastrami left, I'm pretty sure there's some meat patties left. So first up, let's get the pastrami out. That should have gone in a container and instead just got dumped in this bag, which is fine. Let's get it out and we'll get it into a better container, or we'll freeze some of it maybe. So this is all that's left, and you can see how we didn't leave it to cure long enough. It still tastes divine. So what I'm going to do is finish slicing this up so that it can be stored sliced for a start. And then the thought was, now I forgot to pull any of these out to defrost. And I could make up another quick batch because I haven't frozen the garlic yet. And then store it. I suppose that would probably be easier than using one of these. So give me a sec. Alright, so just to make my life more challenging, because that's what I love doing, we'll mix up this other batch of garlic butter that I was going to do anyway. So we will put 500 grams and 500 grams like we did last time. I'm going to turn the oven on to preheat. We're going to put the 500 grams of smoked roasted garlic, which just smells amazing. We've got 500 odd grams of that. The rest I'm going to flash freeze. And we're going to blend that one up. And then we're going to cube up the butter and put it in as well. Now I'm going to use this. I've seen lots of American style recipes where they use those Hawaiian rolls and they fill them and bake them and then garlic butter them. That's the kind of thing I'm going for here. I've never done it before, but it sounds yum. But I'm going to use pastrami and some salami, I think, because I think that would be really nice. I was going to do ham and cheese, and then I found the pastrami and went, well, that needs using. So I might do pastrami, cheese and salami with some mayo and apple butter barbecue. I think that is going to be pretty amazing. It's not quite blended through. That butter's pretty firm, so I'm just going to give it a mix and then let it go again. Grab the collared spatula if I need it. Alright, now these were all joined together, which I thought worked well, but they're not staying together as I do this, which is fine. We will place them together again once they're on the tray. Now Darryl obviously won't eat these, so there is leftover meat patties. I think we'll do like meat patties and eggs and stuff for him. But this was just an idea for this. So this is going to go on top once it's warm. It's still not quite emulsified, but I've got time. All right, so I'm going to do some mayo. Got a bit of garlic on this spatula, but that's fine. Like this. All right, and then I'm going to do pastrami. Nice thin cut pastrami. I should have put this on the tray so that I didn't have to move it again. It was silly of me, because it's all going to come apart as I try and place it, I'm sure. Generous amount of pastrami on there, like that. And I'm going to put, we're going to do pizza probably tomorrow night, so we'll use the rest of this salami on the pizza. But I'm just going to do this. Alright, then we need some cheese. So I have just the Coles cheddar, which we really like. My cheese slice is a little narrow for these blocks of cheese, which is unfortunate. I need to find another one. And I could grate it, but then I'm dirtying more dishes, so I'm not going to today. I could use the plastic slices, but the plastic slices don't have anywhere near as much flavour as this cheddar does. So like that. Then we're going to put some apple butter barbecue on the top rolls, which ended up, I tried to stack in a way that I could figure out where they went, though I'm going to make a mess of this when I try and transfer it, I'm sure. That way. Alright, now we're going to try and transfer that to a tray. I don't know how much you can see of what I'm doing, but this is just what we eat in the week anyway. I actually have 2 trays the same size, so what I might actually try and do is flip them between the 2 trays. So put paper down on that one, and let's see if I can flip this one this way. Oop. It stuck. That didn't work quite as well, but probably better than trying to do it without doing it. Like that. Put this one back. Like that. And the one from the middle back in there. Alright, flipped from the board. And then we've got, you can see what I'm doing anyway. Then we've got the other tray that, if I flip like that, there we go. So, I'm going to heat this, and then once it's warm and I finish the garlic butter, I'm going to brush it with the garlic butter and a bit of Parmesan cheese. Alright, the other thing I've got left is baguettes. So we're going to turn some of these into some pizza, open pizza subs, just like that. We'll just use barbecue sauce as the base because I've got it out rather than pizza sauce. Going heavy on the bread today, but that's, that's fine. So I've got pepperoni. If we do pizza tomorrow night, we'll be going even heavier on things, but actually I pulled chicken thighs out. I think I'm doing chicken for dinner tomorrow night. So anyway, we're going to put pepperoni on these. We got quite a few meat patties from last night's dinner left, so I'm just going to crumble some of them up. Like this. And we're going to sprinkle, and then pizza cheese, and I'm just going to put these in the oven with the other rolls. So Darryl's having leftover keto buns with the leftover hamburger patties. I'm slathering this with a bit of the garlic butter to melt all the way through, and then a bit of the really nice Parmesan. I'm just going to throw it back in for 2 minutes.
You're going to have lovely ginger with that tonight?
And so I'm going to throw this one back in for a minute just to melt that cheese. We've got super simple pizza subs that I'm going to cut up for the kids to share. I'm going to drizzle a little bit more barbecue sauce on top because those meat patties are just plain meat, there's no seasoning on them and stuff like that, so that will just add a bit more flavour there. And then I'm just going to cut them and they can pick what they want to eat. between these and the buns. So that is dinner. All right, lunchtime. Quick lunch. We're going to do super simple. I'm going to make some mayonnaise. I haven't frozen this smoked garlic yet, so I'm going to do some smoked garlic cowboy candy mayonnaise, and I've got a tray here, so I'm going to put paper out on that. I'm going to flash freeze these in single pieces so it's easier to use them once they're frozen. I've got a mix of different things. I've got half a bag of normal bacon here, some maple bacon. I've got the chicken that I made and I froze into these bags because I was going to try it in noodles, except that we've got hamburger buns left, so I'm not doing noodles because we need to use hamburger buns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this mayo. I'm going to turn this into a little bit of a chicken salad type thing. We'll have this with bacon and lettuce and tomato on rolls for lunch today. So I'm going to make some mayo first. I need a spoon, I need some eggs. All right, so I've got 3 egg yolks in there. You can use whole eggs. I just really like the richness of a egg yolk only. And then I've got a good heaping spoonful of mustard. We want a little bit of acid, so I'll grab my lemon juice. Some lemon juice. Generous there, and a little bit of salt. Tiniest bit of salt because my salt pig is empty as per usual. Alrighty, and then we're going to blend this. So I just need my immersion blender. My new one should be at the post office at the moment, actually. Let me find the end to this one. Alrighty, and we've got our olive oil, so all we're going to do, blend that garlic up. And then we'll start drizzling our oil. Once you've got it fairly well emulsified, you can just put a layer of oil on the top and then slowly emulsify that into what's already there, which just saves me holding the bottle, because holding the bottle up and drizzling is really hard on my hands. Holding the button down on the immersion blender can be bad enough. So there we go. We've got a nice big jar of smoked garlic, mustard, cowboy candy, tasty mayo. I'm going to grab a spatula, and there we go. Lovely thick, it's slightly textured. It's not as smooth as it could be because it's got the garlic and stuff in there, but it will be super tasty. So mayo done. So super simple. Can serve themselves. I'm toasting there. I'm going to use a little bit extra mayo because I really like mayo. Then I mixed some mayo with the chicken mix. So all I'm going to do is like create a bit of a patty of chicken on there. I'm going to put some bacon on there. I'm going to put some tomato on there, and some of my lettuce from the let pot as well. So we've got a couple of pieces of lettuce on there, and that is lunch. Chicken, bacon, lettuce, mayo, deliciousness. Now, I cooked Darryl some keto bread rolls, and they ended up too tall. So what I've done is I cut the middles out of them. So all I'm going to do is make him an open sandwich thing, same as what I just did with mine. And I'm toasting the kids' buns at the moment so they can put whatever they want on theirs. I'm just going to do that with some bacon. I'll put a little bit of green on his like that, and a piece of tomato on top like that. And then he has his 2 open-faced keto roll sandwiches. So then the kids, everything else is toasted so they can do what they want with them. All right, dinner with a soundtrack of power tools. Darryl is up on the roof installing another array of solar panels. I defrosted 2 kilos of chicken thighs. I'm just cutting them into some strips like this, and we're going to deep fry them. It's something that I don't do all that often, but is really nice when I go to the effort. So we're going to do these. We have lemon chung on the shelf. I've got a whole lot of broccoli, so I'm going to grill up a whole lot of broccoli. I'll cook some rice. We'll have these marinated slightly and fried. I would normally do them in potato starch, but I was sure I had a bag of potato starch left and I cannot find it. So I'm going to do them in cornstarch, which isn't quite as nice, but it still will work. So we're just going to strip them all. I have multiple cats hanging around at the moment, so my own fault because I feed them tidbits. Alright, so I'm just going to get this done. I'll bring you back when I'm marinating it. That time of the day where the sun is in a really horrible spot, but that's life. Okay, so we're going to go super simple with this. Bit of white pepper. We're going to go with a bit of soy sauce. And then we're going to put some of our minced garlic and ginger mix. And a really nice big amount of that in there, like that. All right. Now, I did forget to mention I do have texture all over me. It's been a low filming day today, and the boys have taken advantage of that and given me their tattoos that they like to give me. So that's what the colour is all over my skin. And Kavik is learning to crochet. I don't know if you can see it. So we're still working on just chains at the moment. So I have a new bracelet that I just realised I couldn't use that hand because I would have dipped it in raw chicken. So there we go. That's what we're doing with this. Now we're just going to leave this sit for the moment with a cover on it, and I'm going to get the other stuff sorted. The broccoli, all I'm doing is trimming anything that has been discoloured from being stored. Like we just take the ends off because the more exposed edges you store broccoli with, the more points there are to go a bit meh. So we just take these bits off, which is why I prefer not to slice them in half if I can avoid it, but they just don't fit nicely in the containers if you leave them whole. So part of this was I probably needed to change the paper towel out. It looks like there's been a lot of moisture in here. So I'm just going to cut up the stems are the same, take the outside edges off that have gone a bit woody and been a bit exposed to moisture, and the ends off, and you're left with the fairly soft internal part that I just then slice into battens, and we cook that off with the rest of the broccoli. All the scraps will go to the chickens. So yeah, so I'm going to cook this off just in cast iron. So I'm just going to cut up probably this whole container worth. I put rice on, cook this up, and then I'll bring it back when I'm doing the chicken. Some zucchini that's getting wrinkly as well. I really should have done some zucchini banana bread. I didn't think about that. So it's still perfectly edible. It's just wrinkly, and I'm going to be cooking it, so the wrinkly factor doesn't matter. But yes, I should have thought about it and done some zucchini fritters or added some shredded zucchini to my banana breads or something, but I forgot it was there. So we're going to chop this up to go with the broccoli, just into chunks. It cooks down fairly soft in the time the broccoli needs to cook and ends up almost being a bit of a creamy sauce to the broccoli, I find. So it works quite well. So I'm going to do that. So I've got a whole bowl of broccoli here. We've got these half a dozen zucchinis. I've got oil heating, rice is turned off and just absorbing, and I just need to get my dredge for the chicken. Alright, I've just got corn flour. I'm just going to put a bit of salt, a bit of white pepper, a bit of paprika in it, and that's all I'm going to do because we're going to use the lemon chung. So we don't need too much flavour in this, it's more just about the texture. So we're just going to blend that up. I've got the broccoli cooking. I'm going to put a lid on it to let it steam a little bit, and I'll add the zucchini afterwards. Oil's not at temperature yet, but all we're going to do is we're just going to lightly dredge, shake it off and throw it in the oil. Alright, I've got 2 of the cubes of the garlic butter that I put in the freezer the other day. I'm going to melt these over. This is just on low now, it's all finished cooking. I'm just going to melt the garlic butter through it all, and this is ready. It's probably a little overcooked. I probably put it on a little bit early, but anyway. It just means it'll be soft. We will survive. The chicken is... Stop for a second, mate. Chicken is cooked, so we're just doing it in batches in the pan, putting it on a rack to drain, and then once it's done, I will serve it up and I'll show you how we eat it. Alright, I purposely cooked 2 kilos of chicken and stuff and enough rice and enough veggies so that I could pack lunch for myself for the next 2 days. So I've already packed up the lemon chicken with the broccoli and rice, and I'm just going to put a little bit of the lemon chung over the top, and I'm going to put a tiny bit of sweet soy as well, and then these will heat up nicely. That'll be enough liquid for the rice underneath as well. So lunch is sorted for the next 2 days, and then we're just waiting for the oil to come back up to temp to do the last lot of chicken, and then we will serve dinner. Here you go. Darryl's already taken his plate, but he had no rice, just a pile of the veggies, and I like to put a tiny little drizzle of sweet soy for my rice, and then the lemon chung over the chicken. And so it's going to take that one over to the table. I put the chicken and the veggies and everything for the kids to... I'll leave them to cool a little bit first. The kids have all the stuff over at the table to serve themselves, and this is dinner for tonight. Alright, so dinner tonight. For lunch I had the leftover lemon chicken, and I have enough to have that for lunch tomorrow as well. The kids today had the leftover burger buns for lunch, so with whatever they wanted on them. I'm not sure what Darryl had, but whatever he wanted to get himself. I forgot to pull anything out for dinner tonight. So I have a bag of chicken bacon mix that I marinated and cooked that I was going to use as topping for pizza, except that I never got around to doing pizza, and it needs to be used or thrown in the freezer, so I may as well use it rather than throwing it in the freezer. So I'm going to do a pasta dish. I have garlic bread that I've made with the roasted smoked garlic and homemade baguettes. I'm going to do caramelized onions with a whole bunch of grated zucchini to make a bit of a like zucchini butter type emulsion. And then I've got the chicken and the bacon already cooked that I will mix through, and maybe a tomato based sauce, maybe a cream based, I don't know yet. We're going to caramelize these off first. I'm going to do 2 onions worth, and I'm going to quick caramelize them using the adding water method so that it's sort of a 20-minute caramelize. It is only just after 5, so I do have time. But I'm cutting them nice and small so they will caramelize quicker. We'll add some salt, and we will add, that one is gross. These were seconds onions as well. they're spicy too. My eyes are watering. Normally I don't have any problem. But I'm tearing up. So yeah, I'm going to slice these. I'll get these started and then I'll shred up the zucchini. I probably just mince it in the Thermomix because I want to turn it into a bit of a sauce anyway. So the smaller it is, the quicker it will puree into a sauce. So I'll bring you back. All right, onions are caramelized. Add a little bit of balsamic vinegar and a little bit of sugar to help them caramelize quicker. I'm going to add the zucchini and quickly work this into a sauce. I will use the immersion blender to get some of the chunks out as well. And then we will add some garlic and some cream and cook up some pasta and all that chicken and bacon as well. And we will have a creamy zucchini, caramelized onion, garlic pasta sauce with all that chicken and bacon in there as well. So I'm just going to cook this down for about 10 minutes and then I'll puree some of it. I might put a lid on it just to steam that zucchini quicker. All right, I'm going to add a couple of the roasted garlic butter cubes as well to this one while I'm cooking the zucchini down. Melt that through so that I can puree some of this and change the texture a little bit. And get a pot of water on for the pasta. Alright, I'm going to add a dash of cream and then I might add some chicken stock if I need to. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to add that bit of cream and I'm going to puree it up. Right, not super smooth, doesn't need to be. I've just put it back on the heat for the moment. I'm going to grab the chicken out and mix that through because it'll add a little bit of liquid just in the chicken and stuff. And then I will taste it, season it, add a bit more chicken stock if I need to. All right, I did the egg pasta that I bought to try and the sauce now has the chicken and everything in it. It's nice and thick so it will hold to the pasta really well, and I'll get a bit of parmesan as well. And we're just going to have that for dinner. So Darryl had a piece of steak with just the sauce on top, and everyone else is going to have some of the pasta with the sauce. So anything else? Right, dinner at that point of the day again with the sun shining poorly. For lunch today, I took leftover pasta from last night. Darryl had leftover chicken and vegetables from the lemon chicken day, and the kids had dino nuggies. Probably on wraps with salad and stuff, or I don't know, but I wasn't here, obviously I was at work. But I did notice that was sitting on my bench, so obviously they cooked them up today. Dinner tonight we are doing skin on chicken thighs. Now these were the ones that I got from the chicken outlet, and they were super cheap, about $2.50 a kilo. The biggest issue with them is that they have both bones, right? So they have the part of the, I don't know, rib bone, I suppose, as well as the thigh bone. So you lose quite a bit of usable chicken when you do them like this. Like if I cooked them bone in something, obviously you eat around the bones once it's cooked and it's not such a big deal. But the way we really like skin on chicken thighs is just fried. Cracklin chicken is from Nom Nom Paleo, was the very first time we ever did them like this, and it is a fast favourite, which means trimming them and getting the little bits of gristle off, the little bits of bone out, and the big bits of bone. And you end up left with this. So what I'll do is I'll weigh it once I get all these off. So each of these bags is approximately a kilo worth of chicken. So all I do is I pop the thigh bone, which is that bone there. So I pop that away from the rib or whatever it is that it feels like spine, like it feels like I'm not real sure. I should know. Like it's, yeah, I don't know. I've pieced enough whole chickens in my life that I should, but I'm guessing. So we pull that big bone out, and then we just slice around the little bone until we can pop that out as well. Using scissors works, but I find scissors really hard to use when my hands are slimy because my hands don't work very well. And then the little bits of sort of any sort of cartilage or little bits of bone, we trim it out because we're eating them as fillets, so we don't want to have to eat around anything like that. And the dogs and the cats get a treat out of it, but the thighs end up quite small after that. So I'm just going to bone out. I've got 16 out, so we've got about 4 kilos out. So as I said, it was $2.50 a kilo. Eating them like this is not the cheapest way to eat chicken thighs because we filleting them out, you eat more chicken. It's just, you know, it's just maths. It's just the way it goes. Whereas if I was cooking them like bone in a dish, you would eat less per meal. It's just the way it ends up working. But we are going to have these just with probably broccoli, because I've still got broccoli in the fridge. Grilled broccoli and zucchini probably, because that's one of our favourite fresh veggie combos, and mashed potato. So we just going to trim them, and then I will bring you back. I'll let you know approximately. So yeah, it's $2.50. That's what I was getting at, wasn't it? $2.50 a kilo. We're using approximately 4 kilos. It's still only $10 worth of meat. It will not be 4 kilos because I'm trimming it for the $10, but it's still only $10 worth of very tasty skin on chicken thighs. So let me finish this up. I'll weigh this out of curiosity once I'm done and see how much chicken I'm actually doing. But it doesn't go to waste because the dogs love fresh chicken bones. So, you know, it's good for their teeth because they're big dogs. Obviously, you don't give chicken bones, raw chicken bones to small dogs because it can cause more issues than it can benefit. But we have big cattle cross dogs, so they love them some raw chicken, or I hold on to it and I roast it all and we use it for stock. But this particular batch is going to be a treat for the dogs, so I'll bring you back. Alright, so we ended up with about 2 kilos of the chicken that's taken all the bones off and everything else now. I have about 1.8 kilos of all the pieces that have the spine pieces in there, and because I'm going to make lasagna soup sometime in the next few days, I'm going to roast those up and create stock to make lasagna soup with. And then there's about 600 grams of just the single legged bones that we're going to give to the dogs as a treat tonight. So about 4.4 kilos, about $11 something worth of meat here, and I've got 2 kilos of usable boneless skin on thighs, so that's a pretty considerable price. Now it is a lot of work and does hurt my hands quite a lot to do this quantity, but the meal will be worth it. Okay, we've sprayed and wiped down our surface. Now normally I would beat these out a bit flatter. I don't think I'm going to because they're smaller anyway, they're smaller pieces, and there's some quite small pieces in there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to salt them and fry them, but I'm going to get the potatoes going first because otherwise they won't cook in time. Alright, steamer pot full of potatoes. We're going to steam this for mashed potato, and then we're going to do the rest of the veggies. I've got some sad looking zucchini and a still fresh looking broccoli, even though it's now, what, 2 weeks into my shopping period? So we'll just slice this up, get this in a bowl ready to cook in the schmaltz and chicken fat once we've cooked off the chicken. But I'll get this cut up in a bowl so that then I can start working on the raw chicken on this board again. Alright, so I got a big bowl of zucchini and broccoli. We'll cook that in the fat once the chicken is cooked. The pans are hot, so all I'm going to quickly do is spread some of these out and salt them. Nah, I'm just not going to bother. They're pretty small ones anyway. And I have to put plastic and stuff over them, bash them. Otherwise, if you bash them without it, it sprays everywhere.
Okay, I was going to say it's a good way to get rid of your frustration. Your husband.
Yeah. So we'll just spread these out, and I'm just double checking that I've got all the, yeah, I know, all the bits of bone out of them. All right, you want to grab the salt and sprinkle the salt over them? I'll wash my hands and I'll find the ghee. So we got piping hot cast iron. I just want to grab, do you get the small ladle? Is the small ladle in the drawer? The chicken creates its own fat, obviously, but a little bit of ghee in the bottom is nice to, yeah. And then we just place the chicken. My oven's a little bit.
As you say, you have to do that because I didn't quite make it even.
Yeah, the oven's not quite level, so the fat does tend to pool.
Leveling things is not one of my skills.
Mm-hmm. So
it's not my first, second, third, fourth or fifth day.
Okay, so once they've been cooking for a while, you get a nice crispy top, and you flip them, and you give them a good cook on the other side. Now, it's been very well scented, and some spots on this pan run hotter than others, so I just maneuver things as needed as well, and rotate through and let them cook. You can't really overcook them because they're thighs, so there's plenty of fat, plenty of, you know, they just, yeah, they don't tend to overcook, they don't get dry. Finish off the chicken in one pan. We've got all this chicken fat and schmaltz left, so then we pour the veggies in to cook off in that bit of salt and fat. So we've already done one lot of veggies in the other pan, and then I'll put that on the table for the kids, and we'll cook this one up. Darryl and I will have these with the chicken as well, and Darryl's just mashing the potato at the moment. Okay, so there we go. I've got a little bit of potato, a whole bunch of green veg, and a couple of the chicken's thighs. Darryl's got half a plate of veggies and an extra few chicken thighs. That's his dinner. And the kids all have a bowl of veggies and the chicken thighs and the mashed potato over at the table to serve themselves. All right, lunch today. It is going to be an admin-y day, so I'm not going to be doing much in the kitchen other than cooking the 2 meals. I will need to get into the kitchen tomorrow. I have the chicken bacon marinated mix here that's already pre-cooked. I'm going to heat this up. I'm going to grate some cheese. I've got some mayo made from the other day. I might grab some lettuce from the let pot. There's tomatoes left, I think. Maybe I'll scramble some eggs. I'm not sure, but we're just going to do it in the low carb wraps for Darryl and standard wraps for the kids and I, and have that as lunch today, nice and easy. All right, dinner tonight. Apollo has requested tuna pasta bake, so that's what I'm doing for the kids. And I defrosted some steak for Darryl and I, and there's some prawns defrosted that the kids can have some of as well. We won't need all of them, or we'll have them tomorrow or whatever. But I'm going to do the white sauce in the Thermomix. Very basic. It's one of the things I really like about the Thermomix is white sauces and custard stuff, because they're just really easy. So we want about 50 grams of butter. I want about 50 grams of flour. I'm going to do a litre of UHT milk. You can use chicken stock or coconut milk if you want instead of cow's milk. I just happen to have this, and the kids have been tolerating dairy, so it's a nice cheap way to do it. I'm going to put a scoop of Dijon mustard and a spoonful of chicken bouillon as well, and a pinch of salt, a bit of cracked pepper. I will add a cube of the smoked garlic butter in this, and I will add a little bit of Parmesan cheese once it's cooked. So I'll just grab the garlic butter. All right, so I've got a cube of the smoked garlic butter that I'm going to throw in that one as well. And then we're just going to cook it. So basically we just want to put it in on thicken. And that's it.
Called Darryl.
So on thicken, it starts off slowly until everything is combined, and then it speeds up as it's cooking to about a speed 3, and then it senses the viscosity of the sauce and decides when it should stop. So that is the start of the white sauce. Pot on the stove for pasta. I'm going to grab the tuna out and we'll put some corn in it too. Now, there's always a bit of a debate about crunchy toppings on things like mac and cheese and tuna bakes. I like a crunchy topping, so I got panko crumbs. I'm going to put the parmesan in this instead of in the sauce, I think. So just going to put, I don't know, half a cup of parmesan in there. And I'm also going to use the pork seasoning or brisket seasoning or whatever I've got here. A little bit of that in there as well, because I really like that. I really like the flavor profile of the sweet and smoky with the breadcrumbs and the, man, words aren't working today, and the crunchy breadcrumbs. I'm also going to put a little bit of ghee in there so that it'll brown up nicely. So I'm just going to get that parmesan mixed through the breadcrumbs evenly, and then add just a quarter cup of ghee in there. Just like that, and I will sprinkle that on top. So we've got our breadcrumbs, we've got our tuna, our corn, pasta's cooking, white sauce is cooking. All right, so our white sauce is done. It's it could be a little thicker, but it's not too bad because it's going to be cooked. The pasta, you want it slightly thin because you're cooking pasta in it. So the starch from the pasta and stuff will thicken it further. So we've got jug of white sauce. We've got a 425 gram tin of tuna and a tin of drained corn kernels. I'm going to mix that through like that. And then I'm just going to get the pasta. All right, pasta cooked al dente, because it's going to be cooked again, so you don't want to overcook it. Using penne, I don't have it. I use penne, or I use spirals, whatever I happen to have. Mix that through like that, and then we're going to sprinkle it generously with the crunchy topping. Now I do regularly make 2 or 3 of these at a time and freeze some, but we're low on freezer space at the moment, so I'm just making the one for dinner tonight. So there you go, that's done. Throw this in the oven for like, I don't know, 20 minutes. And then it'll be ready to serve up when the kids are ready for dinner. And now I'm going to move on to peeling prawns and stuff. Alrighty, we've got some rib fillet steak from the half cow that is almost finished defrosting. And we've got the kilo of prawns that I got on sale frozen at Woolworths, I think. We buy one or 2 every 6 weeks is what I've been doing. I used to only ever buy prawns at Christmas time, and I have been splurging a little bit to have just a bag or 2 throughout a standard shopping period as well. And sometimes we eat them, sometimes we don't. So I've had these in the fridge defrosting. They're not quite defrosted, but I'll pop the heads off and they will end up soft enough for me to peel. And I will cook these in that smoked garlic butter, and we'll cook the steaks in it as well, and just have steak. I might pull a little bit of broccoli out. We'll just have steak, broccoli, and these prawns for dinner tonight. Kind of a fancy meal. A budget fancy meal. I did get these on special. They were only like $22, I think, for the kilo, which is pretty good. But still, you know, a lot of money. But that's why we don't have them very often, and enjoy them when we do get the opportunity to have them. So I'm just going to stand here and peel these. Right, we've got broccoli steak that I'm just going to salt and pepper, and the prawns are done. So I'm going to start the broccoli off first, and then I will add the garlic butter and the prawns, and I'll do the steak in a different pan because I get it nice and hot. This is what the tuna bake looks like. So this is the kids' dinner, ready to go when they are, and then I'll get ours moving. Alright, so we've got our steak, and I did the broccoli with the prawns in the roasted garlic cream with a bit of parmesan, and that is dinner. Oh, sorry, we need to... There we go. That's dinner for tonight. All right, it's only 8:30 in the morning. The kids have run out of all the banana muffins that they had, so I could do a pancake bake, but I decided I would just do a quick batch of the protein muffins that I've got the pre-made muffin mix for. So this is the pre-made sugar, flour, protein powders, and all that sort of thing, and we do it in a batch of 420 grams of the dry mix. You want to grab a bowl to crack the egg into? So we do 420 grams of that. I need 250 grams of milk. Now this makes 12 muffins, so I'll make 2 batches. So I'll use half a tin of coconut cream in each one, about the 190 of the cream, and then I'll top that up with some water. So 250, it's all right. So 250 grams of milk equivalent. We want 125 grams of oil. And an egg. And we're going to mix this up, and then we put mix-ins in it. So what do you want mixed in it? You want chocolate chips, or do you want blueberries or raspberries, or what do you want mixed into it? You want some raspberries? We'll go and grab some raspberries, and you can grab some white chocolate chips if you want to go with the raspberries.
Ooh, that looks tasty.
Yeah, muffin tin. You grab a muffin tin. So we just fold that together. It's already got everything else it needs in it. We're just going to do the mix-ins and the papers off the shelf, and just put them in the muffin tins. All right, so we want raspberry white chocolate was the decision. So we want around about a cupful of mix-ins all up. So you've got not quite half a cup of those. And just over half a cup of the raspberries, and then we'll just mix it through. The raspberries break up really easily just with the spatula. So that's that, and we're just going to put them.
No.
Did the oven turn on? Oh, you finished them all. And the boys would like some more muffins for morning tea, breakfasty type thing. So I've got the muffin mix here. the protein muffin mix that I use.
I don't know the Muffin Man. Is the person that sells muffins to us?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's obviously they haven't watched Shrek in a really long time.
Oh yeah, we haven't.
We watched it so many times on repeat when they were little.
So many times. I just like I said the Muffin Man thing before, and now I've got All Star stuck in my head.
So 12 muffins out of that batch, we'll get them going, and we'll make a second batch up with the other half of the coconut cream tin with something else. Second batch, they asked for strawberry and milk chocolate. So the strawberries were frozen whole, so I've just used the Thermomix to break them up into a little bit of smaller amounts, some chunks in there as well as some powdered bits. We'll throw that in so that there's no huge chunks in the muffins, because none of the kids like really big chunks of fruit in the muffins. And then just a handful of milk chocolate chips, and we'll mix that through, and we will cook this batch off as well. So the muffins take around about 25 minutes in around about 180 degree oven, and then they'll have warm protein muffins for brunch, breakfast, whatever. I'll show them to you when they're cooked. Alrighty, and this is how they turn out. They are a fairly dense muffin because they've got the protein powder in them, but I find that really nice because they end up really nice and moist. So we've got the raspberry white chocolate, the strawberry milk chocolate, and that is breakfast / brunch for the kids today. Alright, dinner either tonight or tomorrow night, we're going to do lasagna soup. So part of that is that I need some stock. Now I have stock on the shelf, but fresh stock is always nice because I like to open a few jars of it, so fresh stock is better. So this is all the bones from the thighs that I cut out the other day, the bits that have the spine parts and that. I froze them because I just wasn't sure when I was going to get to them. I should have frozen them in slightly smaller size. But anyway, I'm going to throw these in the oven. Once they defrost a little bit, I'll spread them out. I might split it between 2 trays so we've got some good surface area to get roasted. So I'm just going to stick these in the oven for the moment to soften enough that I can break it apart. So we're going to do that. Lunch today, some of the kids are having leftover tuna bake from last night, and some of the kids are going to have noodles, but I have run out of ramen seasoning and chili oil, so I'm going to make that up first. I might put that on a different video though, as the meal prep for this week is part of that. So I'll show you making the noodles once I'm done. But yeah, some of the kids are going to have noodles, some are going to have tuna bake. I did pull a chuck roast out as well. I want it defrosted because I want to make birria with it. So I want to be able to cut it up a little bit to create some surface area. Maybe I could do it in the pressure cooker. I haven't quite decided, but I bought the small tortillas to make birria tacos out of. So their use by date isn't until April, so I got a bit of time on that. So I thought I might defrost it and then I'll go from there. So it'll sit in the fridge probably for the next 2 days. Probably won't be on this what we eat video because I think I've already done 6 days or something of meals. But yes, I pulled that out. I'm not sure what I'm doing for dinner. I think I can get this stock done in time to make lasagna soup for dinner, and I've got those 2 garlic breads in the fridge already to have with it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So for now, we're going to do the noodles, so I'm going to get that sorted. I'll show you the noodles when I do them the same way as I normally do them, and yeah. I did think of what I'm going to do while I've got the oven on for the chicken bones. I should make the most of it and roast another tray of garlic. Because I've still got another 5 kilo bag in the house. This is the end of the first 5 kilo bag. So make the most of having the oven running. Just fill this tray and get in it as well. So the noodle dish I put a little bit of sesame oil in the bottom of my bowl. I then use a little bit of, now we do variations on this. Sometimes we have it with some meat, sometimes we have it with poached eggs, sometimes whatever you feel like. Today I'm going super simple and I'm just having noodles. Darryl had fried off some pieces of salmon to have and covered it with the chili oil. I'm going to have the noodles with the chili oil, and the rest of the kids are having some had the tuna bake, and then once I finish this, they're going to cook up some noodles and have it with the chili oil and ramen seasoning as well. So that is lunch. I'll show it to you when it's done. And I'm just going to plate up. It's about 100 grams of these hand-pulled noodles per serve that I really like. The kids quite like the more traditional ramen-shaped noodles, but I really like these hand-pulled ones, and they're about $1.85, I think it is, for a pack of, it's 300 or 400, so there's like 2 or 3 meals out of it. So then I just mix the noodles through the soy and the sesame, and then we're going to add some ramen seasoning, on top, and everyone varies on how much of the chili oil they like. I like lots of the crunch. That's part of what appeals to me about the chili oil, so I do 2 heaped with all the crunch and a little bit with extra oil. And then all we do is mix it up, and as I said, you can add poached egg, chicken, tuna, whatever you want to add to it. Today I'm just having it nice and plain like this, and that is lunch today. So we've got some of the garlic is doing the bubbly thing out of the edges of the skins, which means it's well on its way. It's quite soft. Actually, it might just be done. We might be right to just pull it out. It is, there's some of them still a bit firm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap some foil because I don't want it to overcook, and leave this going for just a little bit longer. So I'm just going to foil cover the tray so that it is keeping some moisture in there, sort of roasting and steaming at the same time, now that it's got some caramelization on it. And throw this back in for the moment. And all my chicken pieces are looking really good. We've got all this colour on it, and the fat and juices in the bottom that are going to be great for stock. I'm just going to throw, since I'm leaving the garlic on for a bit longer, I'm just going to throw this back in for the moment. Right, with the stock, I'm just going to use the small pressure cooker because we want just a really nice rich stock. This is just for one purpose. So I'm going to cut up an onion and carrot and some garlic in here as well. Just
I'll get ready to go.
a bit of salt and a bit of black pepper in there as well, and that's it. That's all I'm going to do. And then those really tasty bones, top it up with water, pressure it for about 90 minutes, and we'll have some really rich stock with that quantity of water and that amount of bones. As I said, this is for the purpose of soup, so I wanted a really, really rich one. So I'm going to do that. Let me wash my hand. All right. There is some gorgeous colour on this, lots of schmaltz, lots of fat. So we're going to scrape this into the pressure cooker. Being cast iron, this pan is very hot. All right. So all I'm going to do is top that up with water, get that going, and then I'm going to spray and wipe down, get a fresh board and stuff for the bench once this is done. Right, the stock hasn't quite come off pressure yet, so I'm going to peel this garlic while I'm waiting. Neighbours come out to their property, so the dogs go off. Just, yeah. Bear! because they don't come out all the time, because they're only here every now and again, the dogs just do not handle it very well. It'd be nice if they listened when we said it's okay that they're there though. We have been looking at, one of the dogs in particular is a continuous barker. Like 2 of the dogs, something happens, they bark, they let you know it's happened, and then they mostly get over it. One of the dogs is a bark all the time. Like they run a generator next door when they're there because they don't have solar, and she will bark on and off all night because she can hear the generator. It's the dog that you can hear in the background. So I was looking at getting one of those collars, the ones that you control though, because I don't want it, like they're guard dogs, they're supposed to bark. Bear! So I don't want it to stop her barking completely. I just want to be able to stay in there and go, that is enough, and use the spray or the vibration or whatever to, you know, just to affirm that command. So I need to have a look into that. The other 2 dogs are pretty good. You tell them to stop, they stop. They get a little overwhelmed sometimes when there's visitors, and they are hard to get to stop, but for things like someone driving down the next door neighbour's driveway or their generator running, generally speaking, they have their go when someone turns up or leaves, but then they stop. But one dog in particular just, yeah, drives me nuts. So if anyone has any suggestions for I don't want anything that does it automatically. I want to be able to control the response of it, and I'd prefer something that's gentle, at least to begin with, and see if it works. But yeah, I must admit that I'm pretty darn sick of peeling garlic. And because these were cooked in the oven at the same temperature that I was cooking the chicken, which is slightly higher than, say, like what we did in the smoker, there's a lot more caramelization, which makes for really tasty garlic. But it's like the sugars cook and they stick. They, you know, melt out of the garlic and they stick to the paper, and they just make it 10 times harder to peel, and they will be so tasty, but really sick of peeling garlic at the moment. So, you know, almost done. And then I need to get that stock strained so that I can start the soup for dinner, which is mostly cooked ingredients, so it doesn't need very long to simmer or anything. But like any soup type dish, is always tasty if you let it simmer for at least a little while. So I was hoping this wasn't going to take as long as it is, but that's life. We also have the arborist coming in this afternoon to give us some quotes on some tree lopping. That is, some trees we got them cut back a while ago, but they've grown enough that they're impacting the solar again. So we're getting them reassessed and looking at getting some trees that are in pathways and stuff removed as well, so that we can move forward on a few different projects. I'll discuss them in a non-food video, but yeah, so almost done. Garlic peeled. I'm just going to wrap it for the moment because I just need it out of the way while I get dinner on. Now, the arborist is here, so Darryl might need me at some point, but it means the dogs keep barking too. Stock, I need to get it strained into a pot. I need a new one of these strainers that has the handle on it, because I used to be able to rest it across the pot, but the handle snapped off, which is sucky. So makes it more difficult. See if I can maneuver this one, or if it's just, I'm missing a handle on my pot, which doesn't help either. I have a bag of frozen bolognese that I'm going to break up into the pot. I did not make this easy on myself at all, and I didn't pull this bolognese out anywhere near early enough. I'm actually going to just put this on low until it softens a bit so I can break it up in here, and then bring it to simmer. Then I'm going to add a jar of my pasta sauce to it as well, to give more liquid, more body, more tomato. And then we're going to cook the noodles in it. So it's super simple when you've already got pre-made mayonnaise, bolognese. But we're going to get this warmed up first, get it sorted, and then I'll bring you back. Bit of chainsawing going on in the background, just, you know. The bolognese is defrosted in the sauce. This is a jar of the home canned roasted tomato and vegetable sauce. So I'm going to add that to add the richness, the tomato richness to it. And then I will let it sit for 20 minutes. I'll taste it, and then I'll adjust the seasonings, then we'll add the pasta. All right, we've hit boiling again, so I'm going to add the pasta. And we're going to let this simmer for a while. I like it to simmer for a lengthy amount of time because I like that pasta to be super silky smooth. So it's going, and then I've got 2 of the homemade baguettes with the smoked garlic butter. So I'm going to throw these in the oven as well for I've had them out on the freezer defrosting a bit, so they'll probably take about 25 minutes, which will probably be around about when everything else is ready, which brings us to around about 6 o'clock. So we, perfect sort of dinner time. Alright, so this is what it looks like. Scoop, I'm going to put some parmesan on it, and then we've got garlic bread with the smoked garlic butter as a side, and that's dinner.